Thank you, Derek. Good day, everyone. So let's start with the exercise. First of all, I'm going to check my units that I'm working in. So I right click on my model tab and I can tell Caddie in what units I would like to work. In this case, it's going to be millimeters, and this is where I can set my background color if I want to change it. I'm going to say OK. So my environment is set up. On my left hand side is what we call the applications. Now the first one is more 3D related commands that you'll build. Then we get the draw, that's for your basic line and curve commands. Geometry is your construction lines and circles. That never prints. You can use it in your model space or on your sheet. It will never print. We've got some measure commands. And then the annotate, we're going to focus today on how to enter text, how to create a leader, as well as how to do dimensions. Then we've got the modify application. That's why I'm going to show you how to trim to an element, how to stretch an object, or delete a segment. And then under insert, you can insert a picture, you can insert a title block, and you can even insert OLE objects, that is Word, Excel, PDF. We can use the OLE objects. So let's start off with the normal draw commands. As I mentioned, it's the basic line commands, and the draw, and you go to lines. Those are also line related commands. So on the left hand side is only the most commonly used commands. So I'm going to start off with the polyline, and Caddie will ask us indicate start of polyline. Indicate the start point, and now if I read the command line at the bottom, you will see that when you move your pointer, you'll get only a portion of your command line in your pointer. So from the start, I would recommend read the command line, because you will find more commands to that particular action of the command. So indicate next point, I'm going to be specific, and I'm going to type in 5000, and I'm going to press the right arrow on the keyboard. I'm going to go 4000 up, so I'm typing 4000, press the up arrow on the keyboard. I can make use of my polar snap setting at the bottom, S for snap, and I can close my profile. Now when I talk S for snap, that means under help, keyboard shortcut keys, you will see that there's a list of basic shortcut keys. Now E, you will hear I'm talking about E for option end, F for freehand, S for snap. So that is where you can get hold of a list of existing shortcut keys on your keyboard. Because normally you work between freehand or auto snap. If you're in freehand, you cannot snap to a specific object. Auto snap, then you can have signals. So let me show you. If I'm going to go to auto, and I would like to start from the top left, bottom right. As I move my pointer, I'm in freehand, I don't get a signal. So I can right click and I can say auto snap, and now I will get signals. Now as you can see, my signal differ from, you will get a square, you can get a percentage, that's midpoint of the line. I would like to draw a line from the center to the start point at the bottom, from the top to the bottom, because I get a signal because I'm in auto snap. So now I change back to freehand, and now I won't get a signal. Let's change to a different pen color, and let's change to a different line style, and I would like to add a circle to it. Just freehand in the middle, because I don't want to snap to anything. Indicate the midpoint, and I can create a circle. At any stage I can select the circle, and by using the grip points I can reposition the circle. Let's make a copy of it. So let's select it, right click, and I'm going to ask Caddie copy, indicate the start point. I can hold down my tab key to keep it horizontal. I can place it next to it, and now I would like to rotate it. So while it's attached to my pointer, I'm going to right click and rotate. Let's rotate it 45 degrees anti-clockwise, and I can place my symbol. I'm going to press escape. I'm calling it the symbol because it's just multiple objects. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to show you or teach you how the hatching work. Now first of all, on the left hand side you will see we've got a quick hatch option. You can either make use of fills or even patterns and line styles. So we're just going to focus on the fill. So it's going to be inside auto. So what that means is that if I'm going to drag and drop, have a look and see. If I'm going to drag and I'm going to drop, then you indicate the areas that you want to fill inside. If it's a scenario where you would like to, let's say, fill on the outside, I'm going to drag and drop, and then I'm going to indicate the island inside. But you're not limited to making use of fill or pattern hatches only. You can even make use of an image itself. So let's go to draw, change to a different pen color. I'm going to go back to continuous line. I'm going to show you that you can actually make use of a normal JPEG, a bitmap. So if I go to draw, you'll see there's a command bitmap image block fill. So I'm going to fill an area with a bitmap. You can also fill it with a block. If you're familiar with a block, I'm going to say inside, indicate inside. Caddie will ask me what JPEG I would like to make use of. I'm going to indicate the brick. I'm going to say open, and as you can see, it fills the area. It's very small, so I can resize or rescale this image by just going the same path, rescale the bitmap. Caddie asks us indicate the bitmap, and then Caddie asks us indicate 2 points. So I'm going to indicate 2 points, and as you can see, the size of 53 millimeter, but that need to be 220. So I'm going to press enter. If I zoom out, as you can see now, that looks more realistic. So you can fill an area with an image as well. Then I'm going to show you that when it comes to your hatch itself, you can add additional points. So if I right click, I can go to my hatch and I can add a corner. So if I click on the command, it will ask me indicate point on one side of modification. I want to change from between this point and that point, and I can add another 2 points, or depends on what is your profile that you want to add. E for end, press escape, and these 2 points added to my existing hatch. Now I'm going to show you the trim and fillet command. So on my left hand side, let's go to a rectangle again. I'm just going to draw a rectangle over here. And if I select the polyline, I can right click, I can go to polyline, and I can ask Caddie, auto fillet my polyline. My radius is going to be 500 millimeter. I'm going to say OK, and as you can see, all 4 of them is done by just using 3 clicks. Then we've got your normal lines. So let's say I've got a line at this angle, a line at that angle. I would like to extend those 2 lines. All we have to do is I can just go to my modify tool, and I can use trim objects to each other. So indicate the first one, indicate the second one, and the angle remains the same. When it comes to copy and repeat, let's say I want to do some parking, indicate the first line, and now I want to repeat this line because it presents parking. So now I'm going to introduce to you under modify, get transform, move copy repeat. My selection is going to be an object, my repeat to point. I'm going to say OK. Caddie asks us indicate object to translate. So this is the line I want to copy and repeat. Where I want to translate it from is going to be from this point. I need to be to, let's say, this point all the way up to over here. So that's the copy and repeat. Now let's say it presents parking. I want to number these parkings. So I'm going to enter text. So I go to annotate, enter text. I'm going to say, let's call this parking number 1. Parking number 1, and let's make the text color yellow, and I'm going to say OK, and I can place my text. At any stage, if the text is too small, I can select my text, and in my object properties I can tell Caddie, let's make that 500, so that's 5 at 100. Now I'm going to show you how to copy and increment. You select the text, you right click the CSM. Once the text is selected, you will get text related commands. If you select lines, you'll get line related commands, polylines. So I want to copy and increment text. Caddie picks up the P and the 1. Do I want to increment the P? Then the results will be Q. I don't want to increment the P, only the number 1 with 1. So I'm going to say OK, and as you can see, now I can create P2, P3, P4. So when it comes to numbering, we can copy and increment text very easily. You can also trim multiple lines to a single line. So let's go to draw. I'm just going to create a single line, even at an angle. As you can see, this is going to be now an odd angle, but I would like to trim all those lines to this single line. So I'm under modify, I'm going to go trim to an element. I'm going to indicate the master, and now I can either indicate individual that I want to extend, or if I want to extend all of them at the same time, I use exactly the same command, but I start on the outside, indicate the opposite side, E for end, and it all extends to one master line. Now I'm going to show you that I'm going to select multiple objects, then we're going to store the selection, and now I'm going to carry on working, and then I come back to my stored selection. So on my left hand side, I'm just going to create a rectangle again, because I would like to do some dimensions. I'm going to say make it 8000, 6000. And let's do dimensions, horizontal dimension, you can do a vertical dimension, and as you can see it's 8000 by 6000. So now I would like to stretch this rectangle to the left hand side. It needs to be 10,000. So the stretch command is under modify, We go down to stretch. Selection is going to be scope, rectangle, and I'm going to ask Caddie drag stretch entities. I'm going to say OK, indicate what I want to stretch. Indicate the first move point. So if I've got a specific point, I can indicate the point. I can hold down my tab key as well to keep it horizontal, or I can give it a specific distance. I want it to be 10,000, so I'm going to add 2,000, and I'm going to press the left arrow on the keyboard, and as you can see, my dimension did update. Now I want to go back to my stored selection. So all I do is I'm going to go to select, and you see there's an option that says recall stored selected. And now I can just press M on the keyboard for move, and I can move it to the side. We also do have what we call a catalog. So I'm going to activate my catalog. By default, you will get some samples in the Caddie supplies, but we can create your own personal folder as well. As you can see, those are just samples. I've created my own palette, what we call, and I'm going to bring in the part number. I'm going to place it. It's an attribute, so I can give it a number. Let's say call this one number DE. I'm going to say OK, and now once it's a block, I can copy this block. I can rotate it and rotate, let's say 45 degrees. You'll notice that my text, regardless what is my angle, my text remain horizontal. So that's when it comes to your catalog. You can make use of text as well. You can make use of hatches, dimensions, styles. You can add anything to your catalog to drag and drop from your catalog. Now before we get ready for printing, I'm just going to show you that when it comes to drag settings and the configure, we've got an option where you can supply an angle increment. Now that's going to be 45 degrees. So I'm going to indicate the start point. Now I'm in freehand at the moment, but then I would like to make use of the drag settings. I'm going to hold down the tab key, and as you can see, that's horizontal. And now as I move my pointer, it will jump with intervals of 45 degrees. So now I'd like to go 45, 45, 45, or 90. Press escape. And now I want to delete the inside. So if I select and I press delete, it will not work. I can add additional lines to it. Let's say a different pen color. I can indicate start points up to there. Let's say up to there, down to there. But now I would like to delete inside, so I can use the modified delete segment. And I'm going to indicate I want to delete that portion, this one over here, and there, and there. E4 end, that is the delete segment command. So let's get ready for printing now. So I'm going to close my catalog, and then I'm going to show you that you can create multiple viewports. You don't have to create one. So we're going to select some of these components and take it to the sheet in a viewport. Now let's set up our sheet. So you go to sheet 1. As you can see, it's an A4. I would like to make use of an A3. So I can just right click on the sheet tab, go to sheet setup, and I'm going to select my printer or my plotter. Paper size is going to be an A3. I can give it a name. Let's call it A3. My plot style is going to be mono. I'm going to say OK. So now I've set it up. Now my title block, I can insert the title block or logos, insert picture. I've already created the title block for Caddie. There's my title block. And now let's go back from the Modelspace. And now I can select multiple objects. You don't have to create a viewport from the whole drawing. You can be more specific and select certain objects, right click, add to sheet, create viewport. As you can see, it creates a boundary. I'm going to say OK. In this exercise, it needs to be scale 1 and 100. I'm going to say OK, and I can place my first viewport. I can go back to my Modelspace. Let's create a viewport from, let's say, this parking. So either you can go to view and you can create a viewport, a circular viewport, rectangular viewport, or a polygon. Let's say a circular one from that area to my A3. It's going to be 1 and 100 as well, and I can place it on the side. And at any stage, once again, you can reposition your viewports. And let's go for printing. So if I go File, Print, you will see that I'm going to select the PDF 995. It's going to be A3. My plot style is mono, and I'm going to say Preview. And as you can see, everything prints black except my image, my bitmap. So what I can do is, if I, for some reason, I would like the red fill need to print in color, I can go back to my model space and I can select the hatch, and in my object properties I can change from index to RGB. Let's just select all of them, change it to RGB. That means the color you see is the color it's going to print. Let's go to the same path, file, print. Once again preview, and as you can see, the reason why it ignores the plot style settings, because the plot styles is set to print black, but if it's set to RGB, the color you see is the color it's going to print. For the users that attended the webinar of Vic, maybe you'll recognize this PDF that he created. So I'm going to show you now that if a PDF was created by a CAD system, we call it a vector PDF. Now Caddie can read a vector as well as a raster PDF, but Caddie can work with a vector PDF. So now I'm going to show you. Let's close this preview and let's go to a new drawing. So if I go say file new, so the two commands I'm going to introduce to you is either you can insert the PDF as an underlay or you can convert the PDF. Now if you took a hard copy to a scanner and you scan the copy and you save it to a PDF, then you can make use of insert PDF underlay, because then you can work on top of it. That is a raster PDF. If the PDF was created from a CAD system, save as PDF or print to PDF, then we can convert that PDF to a drawing. So then it's a vector PDF. So I'm going to click on the command. Caddie will allow me to browse to the PDF that I want to make use of. I'm going to say open. As you can see, that's the preview. I'm going to say OK, and Caddie will ask us pick point to import the PDF. Indicate the point, F4 for zoom extents, and as you can see, there's my drawing. So if I zoom in, now I can control it as a normal drawing. I can delete stuff. I can draw new lines, let's say from there to there, there to there, up to there. So at any stage you can seize it as a normal drawing. Change to freehand, select the text, M for move. I like to move it more to the center. So hope you've learned something. Enjoy the Caddie. All the best.